welcome to the Dolce Marketing Podcast, the show for visionary entrepreneurs ready to step up, upgrade their plan, and build the business and life they have truly dreamed of. I am your host, Heidi Niemi, and every week I share effective strategies that actually move the needle, systems that eliminate overwhelm, and insight to take you from clarity crisis to legendary legacy, one episode at a time. But let's get started. If you've been listening to the previous two episodes, now you understand two critical things about the online business landscape in 2026. First, the market has shifted dramatically. The strategies that worked in 2019 or even 2022 are not going to cut it anymore. Too much has happened since, and we all experience it. More about it in the first episode. Second, we are operating in a trust economy where people are more skeptical than ever, and building genuine trust is non-negotiable. More about this in the second episode, so if you missed it, be sure to dig into it. There's some really valuable nuggets and insights for you to know. So, the question becomes, what do you actually do about it? How do you build a business that not only survives, but actually thrives in this new reality? Because the worst feeling in business is when you know something is wrong, but you don't know how to fix it. And that's what I want to share with you today. I am going to walk you through the Dolce Method, which is my complete framework for building a business that actually works in 2026. I am not guiding you to build a business that's based on hype and hope. I am guiding you to build a business that's built on effective strategy, streamlined systems, and ethical sustainability. But first, let me address something that I see all the time. Most entrepreneurs that I meet are drowning in scattered tactics. They have taken courses on Instagram Reels. They have learned about email marketing. They have studied launch strategies and funnel hacks and hundreds of other things. They have more online courses in the digital cemetery resting in peace than they have euros or dollars or pounds in their bank accounts. And they're frustrated and figuring out why after all of this effort, it still doesn't work as promised. Is there something wrong with me? Am I simply not good enough to run this business? Now, listen, if you're one of them, I hear you. And I am here to tell you that it's not you. You are good enough. You have all that it takes to run a very successful business. It's not you. It's the tactics that you're using. Why? Because all of these scattered tactics without a smart strategy is just chaos. And that's what you're experiencing right now. It's like having a bunch of puzzle pieces, but no picture on the box. You're just moving things around, hoping something clicks, but never seeing the full image. And you don't know how to put this all together. Does this sound familiar to you? Yes? So, what most of these entrepreneurs do is they go and chase the next butterfly that promises to deliver them what they want to achieve. They go and buy the next course, hoping that this will finally be the answer. So, if you're in this situation, I need you to hear me. What you need is not another course that teaches you yet another tactic. What you need is a wholesome method, a complete strategic system where all the pieces work together towards a clear goal. And that is what the Dolce Method provides. That's why I created it. I have worked in the online business fields for way over 10 years now, and I have seen how it has developed over the years and why it is the way it is right now. And the Dolce Method is created as an answer to that. It's a complete ecosystem that includes all the aspects that you need to create a truly successful online business in the trust economy. It's not a course, it's not scattered tactics. It's a complete ecosystem to follow and execute. All the pieces matching perfectly together. So the Dolce Method has 5 pillars, and each pillar has its own important mission. They are there to bring you from clarity crisis to legendary legacy, one step at a time. I'm going to walk you through with each one so you can see how they fit together and start thinking about how to apply them in your own business. So, here's pillar 1, which is called Strategic Brand Foundation. This is where everything begins. And I cannot stress enough how many entrepreneurs skip this step or rush through it and then wonder why nothing else works. So, when people enter this step, they are experiencing a clarity crisis. They don't know what they're about, they don't know what their message should be about, or how to turn their expertise into a viable, sellable product and an actual thriving business. They have ideas, but it's not a clear concept yet, usually. Often there are some competing ideas because many entrepreneurs, such as myself, are multi passionate. So they need some perspective to actually choosing a market that has business potential and feels also meaningful for them to execute every day. So your strategic brand foundation answers the fundamental questions of who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? Who do you do it for? And most importantly, how do you stand out in a crowded market? What is your unique selling position? What is your message? What sets you apart from others? Now, remember what I said in episode 1. There are thousands or even tens of thousands of coaches and course creators out there teaching similar things as you are. Your skills alone won't make you stand out anymore. Your unique energy, your perspective, your message, and your positioning, they will. So, in this pillar, we get crystal clear on your mission, your values, your ideal client, and your unique point of view, your contrarian message that sets you apart and establishes you as the authority and the obvious choice in the market. We establish your unique framework that is your method of delivering the transformation to your client. This is where we define what makes you different and helps you stand out in the market. Not in a gimmicky way, but in a genuine way that resonates with the people you're meant to serve. And one of my favorite parts here is when we give your brand its visual form, because how your brand looks is also how it feels to your clients. Once you know what your brand is about and what it represents, it is so important that the visual aspects are there to communicate the same message. This means that your brand identity, your colors, your fonts, your logo, and how they are used on your website, social media, etc., in all of your marketing. Without this foundation, everything else you build will be shaky. Your messaging will be too generic. Your content will blend in with others. Your offers, they just won't feel compelling, but with a strong foundation, everything clicks to place. You know exactly what to say, how to say it, and who you're saying it to. Sometimes this is a more straightforward process, and sometimes this requires more processing and testing before it actually becomes clear and clarifies to you. So I will give you 2 examples here which are different from each other so you can see how the process may look like. So I have a client who is a leadership coach for women, for ambitious women. And she came to me because she wanted to finally launch her online business. She has so many titles, so many certificates. She's a very highly educated and smart woman. and she wants to turn her expertise into a business. But she has so many titles that it was in the beginning, for her, it was difficult to choose where to specialize in. Okay, so I asked her for some questions, and in just 2 advisory sessions, we have mapped out her business idea and her unique positioning. So it can be this straightforward, just couple of sessions, and you will have everything figured out, like who you are or what you stand for. Another example, another different example, is a client that I have who has a PhD, and she has written a book about how nurses are traumatized in their work and how actually the symptoms that sound like burnout symptoms are in fact trauma symptoms. So, this is her message and her contrarian point of view that set her apart from others in the market. And since she has a PhD and she has a book, she also has authority on this matter. She is the expert on this matter. But she's also spiritual, and she felt called to bring that spiritual aspect to her work and even go more into that direction in her work. So she felt called to create a complete spiritual trauma healing academy. And she was totally unclear how she can combine these 2 aspects in her business, because the spiritual concept is not just for nurses, it's for everyone, for everybody who is experiencing trauma. So, what we did was that we brought the spiritual, more etheric visual concept to her business, and she started to bring more spiritual content to her messaging. She even created some low ticket products to sell in the spiritual container. But pretty soon, when she was executing it, it was clear that the message is not contrarian enough with the spiritual aspect, and it makes it sort of like too soft and not in the line with the original contrarian message and the clear concept that she has in her book. So, we pivoted. She decided to ditch the spiritual products completely and concentrate solely on the nurses, which was a perfect choice. So, what we did was I designed her a new, stronger brand visuals and a website that reflects that strong authority that helps liberate the nurses from trauma and protect them from re traumatizing. And now the message is completely clear to her and her audience. She is the ultimate resource and authority to turn to when you want to liberate yourself from nurse specific traumatization. And now everything in her business reflects that, from her messaging to her brand visuals. She also has now her own framework. So it was actually funny when in one of our sessions she told me, I told her that, okay, so next you will need to create your framework, and I gave her instructions to that. And she was like, no, I don't think I will need a framework. Like, everything is so clear, I don't need the framework. And I already knew her, so I just smiled and I said, okay, because knowing her, I know that what her no meant was that she just needed some time to process it. And in the end, she always does what I advise her to do. She's so committed to her work that, like, she does what it takes. And that's exactly what happened. To our next session, week after that, she showed up with a framework. And now that framework that she created is guiding everything that she does with her clients. And it's even visible on her website. So it's her own version of the Dolce Method that I'm presenting you here. And that is what we created in the first step of the Dolce Method, was her framework. So as you can see, sometimes the process can be very straightforward, and sometimes you need to see proof of the market and test things to see what kind of business you end up with. In the Dolce Method, what we always do is that we test the market first to make sure that we don't enter a market that isn't viable. Then we build brand foundations, find your unique positioning that sets you as the category of one and makes the competition irrelevant. And then we create stunning visuals that reflect all of that work and bring it to life in your marketing. And then we have perfect clarity on what we're doing. We're moving to the next step, which is pillar 2, visibility growth architecture. So Once you have clarity on who you are and what you stand for, you need people to actually see you. That's where the visibility piece comes in. But as I mentioned in the last episode, visibility is not about being everywhere. It's about being unforgettable in the right places. This pillar heavily builds on the first pillar. So, in the first pillar, we clarify the message and the branding. In this pillar, we bring it visible and in front of your audience. So, in this pillar, we design your visibility strategy. We ask questions like, what's your signature content format? What's the most natural way for you to create content? Where does your ideal client hang out? How do you position yourself as the thought leader rather than just another content creator? This means making choices of where it makes most sense for you to be visible. It's the combination of what's the most natural way for you to create content and where your audience hangs out. The goal is to build what I call a content ecosystem. So, a system where your content works together, where every piece has a purpose, and where you're constantly showing up in a way that builds trust and authority over time. So, what we actually do is we decide on your weekly signature content form. For many of my clients, this means starting a podcast, which is, like I said in my previous episode, is the recommended weekly signature content form, or a YouTube channel, something that establishes long form authority. For others, it's about being strategic on Substack, Medium, or their own blog. The platform matters, but less than the strategy behind it. So, weekly signature content means it's content that you publish every single week, same day, same time, rain or shine. This is a crucial part of what I talked about in my previous podcast episode. Your clients can rely on hearing from you every week and getting to dive into your world. Posting this is about you prove that you're a reliable, committed, and serious professional. It's about consistency. You showing up every week, rain or shine, is very powerful in creating trust and getting you in front of your audience. When you're being consistent, you're already winning the game because you're doing what most of your competition isn't doing. And it's about integrity. When you can be in the integrity of producing valuable content every single week to your audience, how can that not make you and your brand magnetic? So, your weekly signature content is the heart of your content ecosystem, and the rest is pulled from it. So, every week you have a piece of content coming out with your signature message, and each week has a new theme. All the rest is then pulled from that. It will be your source for your newsletter that week and your social media posts for that week. When you have a clear message and a long form content for each week, you can pull smaller content pieces from it to your social media, and you will never run out of social media post ideas and material again. And a pro tip here: if you video your podcast episode, you can just cut and edit 30 to 90-second reels from the best parts of it, plus make some carousel, and you're all set with your social media. Social media, done, but strategically. This means all of your content repeats the same message. We people, we need repetition to learn something. And this is why this is such an effective strategy to build trust and your authority. And that's what we establish in Pillar 2 in the Dolce Method. This is actually the antidote to the exhausting content hamster wheel. Instead of posting randomly and hoping for the best, you have a strategic architecture that actually moves the needle. It grows your audience, creates daily sales, and warms up your audience to be ready for the next step, which is buying from you. So that's what gets us to Pillar 3, which is Premium Offer Suite. When new clients come into my world, this is usually where they want to jump right into. They want to create their products immediately. And understandably so. They have a product idea, and that's when they come to me because they want to bring that into reality. But maybe now you understand that it cannot be done before the first two steps are ready. So, not in the 2026 economy. If they tell you something else, I am telling you it's a red flag. Sorry to say that because I know it's not what you want to hear, I know, but it's the truth. You need to first figure out who you are, what you do, and have an audience to sell to. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to wait until you have a big audience before you can make an offer. No, you don't, because offers are also growing your audience. Even if they don't buy at this time, they become subscribers and followers, and maybe they just need more warming up before they buy. So, yes, launch before you're ready, but not before your foundations are ready. Here's where we zoom out and look at the complete experience your client has with you. Most entrepreneurs think in terms of individual products. I have a course, I have a coaching program, I have a membership. But they haven't mapped out how these pieces connect. In this pillar, we design the client journey through your products. How does someone go from discovering you to becoming a raving fan and paying client? What are the exact stepping stones along the way? So, the Dolce Method's idea is to make the new follower or subscriber a paying client as soon as possible. And we have a special strategy that helps the client find the exact support that they need based on where they are in their journey and in their lives. The Dolce Method offer suite includes 3 levels of offers: entry, deep dive, and all in. So each of these steps solves a specific problem and naturally leads to the next. Your client never feels like they have been pushed. They feel like they are being guided. Entry level offer is a low ticket offer. It's like a band aid. It offers quick help for the problem that your client is experiencing. It makes them feel good, gives them a positive experience in working with you, and proves them that you are the right person to help them. This is a very strategic level in the offer suite because this, if anything, builds the trust factor. The next offer level is deep dive offer. So this is a mid-priced offer that provides a deeper level solution to a bigger problem that your client is experiencing. I recommend thinking what is one obstacle that your client needs to clear so that they can join your high ticket program. This is a great topic for your deep dive product. And the last offer level is an all in product. This is the ultimate transformation that you're offering to your clients, and it's your high ticket offer. These 3 levels of offers form your strategic offer suite. Together, they form a durable net of offers that your client can benefit from. They can buy all levels of offers, or they can choose just 1 or 2. But each level builds on the previous one and works as the stepping stone towards the next one. So that's what we build on this third step of Dolce Method, your offer levels. And here's the magic of this step. When the journey is well designed, selling becomes easy. You are not convincing people to buy, you are simply offering them the logical next step. And then you create the system that makes it flow. Which brings us to pillar number 4, which is revenue flow system. Now, we get to the part where everyone wants to talk about how to actually make sales. In the Dolce Method, we have 2 strategies for this: daily sales engine and launching. Fact is that selling to a cold audience these days requires either a big ads budget and an offer that's a total no-brainer and is something that your client really, really badly needs right now, or a very strategically built funnel that warms the client quickly and prepares them to buy quicker. I am talking about a strategy that made my client funnel have a 28 conversion percentage in her cold audience. So in Dolce Method, we have a special funnel, and I have the proven templates to that inside of my Dolce Societe Group Advisory membership that you can use right away that creates sales even with the cold audience. So here's the idea: sales shouldn't be just something that you do occasionally or during a launch. What if that launch fails? I mean, that's a huge risk. In Dolce Method, we think that sales should be happening in your business every single day. That's what this pillar is all about. We design a sales system that generates consistent revenue every day and turns cold audience into paying clients. And then we create a separate system that creates revenue on launch spikes. The core of this is what I call the daily sales engine. So it has three parts: the strategic lead magnet that attracts the right people, then an entry level product that converts leads into customers. Remember that 28% of conversions that comes from this. And then retargeting that brings people back and nurtures them towards your high ticket offers. When these three pieces are working together, you have a machine that's growing your audience and generating sales every day, even when you're not actively launching. Now, this is a game changer for most entrepreneurs. Instead of the feast or famine cycle of launches, you have steady, predictable income, and that changes everything about how you run your business. And then we have a unique launching system where you will have a launch 2 to 4 times a year through the live workshop, which is your deep dive offer, and a webinar series that will then sell your all-in product, which is your high ticket offer. This will bring in the big bucks in your business and create the biggest transformation in the lives of your client. Launching is always huge work, but with this strategy, we make sure it's worth the effort. So basically, we're using your offer suite and we turn it into two separate revenue flows: everyday sales through the entry product and launches through your deep dive and all-in products. This gives you consistent sales flow and strategic structure to your business. Trust me when I say it's a total game changer. Once you master that, then it's time to scale up. Which brings us to pillar 5, which is sustainable legacy elevation. So the final pillar is about building something that lasts and grows without burning you out. Too many entrepreneurs build businesses that depend entirely on them. If they stop showing up, the income stops. And that's not a business. I mean, that's a job or a prison that you created for yourself. In this pillar, we look at how to create leverage. How can you serve more people without working more hours? How can you build recurring revenue that doesn't require constant launching? Maybe you can launch just twice a year instead of 4, or once instead of twice. What can you outsource so that you can concentrate on tasks where you cannot be replaced, like being in front of your audience? For many of my clients, this includes some form of membership or community, such as my Dolce Societe, a place where clients get ongoing support, resources, and access to you while you build predictable monthly revenue. It also includes systems and automations that handle the repetitive tasks so that you can focus on the work that actually requires your unique genius. The goal is a business that supports your life, not one that consumes it. A business you can run from anywhere, whether that's a medieval tower in Tuscany like me, where I am right now, or wherever your dream location may be. This is the exact thing that made it possible for me to move to Italy, having my business completely online. What is it that it will make possible for you? What is your big dream that having a scalable strategic online business that creates consistent daily cash flow and some bigger revenue spikes a few times a year will make possible for you? So, those are the 5 pillars of Dolce Method. 1, strategic brand foundation, know who you are and how you stand out. 2, visibility growth architecture, get seen by the right people in the right way. And 3, premium offer suite. Guide your clients through a seamless product experience. 4, revenue flow system. Build a daily sales engine that generates consistent revenue and make the big bucks through launches. And 5, sustainable legacy elevation. Create leverage so your business grows without burning you out. Now, here's what's important to understand. These pillars, they are not separate. They are integrated. Each one supports and reinforces the others. This is a complete ecosystem. It's not scattered tactics. It's an effective strategy that works. Your brand foundation informs your visibility strategy. Your visibility strategy then brings people into your product system, and your product system then takes them to the client journey where they are being guided step by step through your offers. And your client journey leads to your scalable ecosystem. When all 5 are working together, you have a business that actually works. Not just during launches, certainly not when you're hustling. It works all the time. In the coming episodes, I am going to dive deeper into each of these pillars, and I will share specific strategies, examples, and frameworks that you can apply in your own business. And if you're thinking, this sounds amazing, but I need help with actually building this, then I have fantastic news for you. The Daily Sales Engine workshop is coming in February. And this is a 3-day intensive where we will build out your Pillar 3 together, your complete daily sales system. So the lead magnet, entry offer, and retargeting strategy all mapped out and ready to implement. So if you're missing that daily sales engine, this is for you. I will share more details with you soon, but if you want to be the first to know when registrations opens, make sure that you're subscribed to this podcast and on my email list. I will drop all the links you need in the show notes. Thank you for listening to the Dolce Marketing Podcast with me, Heidi Niemi. If this episode gave you clarity or sparked a new idea, feel free to share it or leave a review. And make sure to follow the show so you don't miss the next one. And if you're curious about the bigger picture behind this work, visit my website at heidiniemi.co. See you next week.